What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we give you updates on the fourth stimulus check update, as well as what's going on in the world today. Tomorrow is expected to start the closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin trial over the George Floyd death, the police officer who kneeled on the face and neck of George Floyd. And the country is kind of bracing for this because I think that if he doesn't get a severe punishment, the police officer, whatever side you're on, I think that if that doesn't happen, if they don't show him guilty of killing that man, I think that we could see riots again. I think that the country's bracing for this, and it's going to be a very tense moment. Closing arguments in Chauvin's trial are expected Monday, after which the jury will begin its deliberations. Chauvin, who is now 45, was a Minneapolis police officer when he was filmed kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes during a May arrest. Floyd was declared dead at a nearby hospital thereafter, actually during the event, but declared thereby after at the hospital. Floyd's death and the shocking video of the events leading up to it caused national and global outrage. Now there are fears of unrest if Chauvin is acquitted, an outcome that Black Americans in particular would see as evidence of a system biased against them. Now, really, this verdict is coming as we've seen several other cases of similar incidents recently, and I think that I hope there's not going to be riots here, but just brace yourself because we could see that starting as early as tomorrow night if this verdict is acquittal or anything in the middle. If we don't see a full-on guilty verdict, I think that we could be in for very rough waters. It's a very sad situation, to be honest, and my thoughts are is that I think the vast majority of police officers are good people, but there's always people that get caught up in situations, or maybe they have hatred for other people. I mean, we're talking about humans here. Nobody's perfect, and I think that there could be some reform done in that area. But it's a very tricky situation because yeah, it's just we're dealing with people's lives here. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We're also seeing a new movement to end Supreme Court justices' lifetime appointments. This comes as a new poll shows that over 2/3 of Americans think that Supreme Court justices should not serve an entire lifetime on the Supreme Court. You know, when you're appointed, you could literally serve there 50 or 60 years, depending on how old you are. When appointed. And President Biden has an inquiry going on right now. He has a bipartisan group of people looking into whether or not they should, this is one of the things they're looking into, is end lifetime appointments to the Supreme Court. You think about the president is only up there for 8 years. We know Congress is there for as long as they're reelected, but they do need to at least be reelected every 2 years in the House and every 6 years in the Senate. As you know, both Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell won their reelections just this past November by landslide. So Mitch McConnell will be in there for 6 more years, upon which time he will be 85 years old. He's currently 79. But again, they serve 6-year terms in the Senate. So he'll be 85 years old when he comes up for reelection, if he even runs again. If he runs again, he'll go until he's 91 years old. I think we're probably in his last term here. But yeah, that's almost considered a lifetime appointment. However, they do need to be reelected in the Senate every 6 years. Every 2 years, about 1/3 of the senators are up for reelection every 2 years. However, people in the House of Representatives are up for reelection every 2 years. And Nancy Pelosi won her reelection by a landslide. It wasn't really even a competition. Mitch McConnell kind of won by a landslide too. His was a little bit closer, but again, he's up for 6 years now. Nancy Pelosi is currently 81 years old, and but at least she has to be reelected every 2 years. For some reason, there's Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi are very popular in their state and their district, and they get reelected every time by a landslide. But people are now questioning if Supreme Court justices should also have to be reelected or possibly serve something like 10-year terms as opposed to lifetime. where they could literally be there for 50 or 60 years or more. Let me know your thoughts. I think that that is one of the reforms we're seeing. President Biden has a bipartisan group looking into the Supreme Court justices, and he's also looking into on whether or not they should do what's called packing the court, which means expanding or adding more seats to the Supreme Court, which is currently at 9. It has been expanded 6 different times in the past, although it hasn't happened since back since the Civil War. It's been 9 Supreme Court justices. It's a very controversial issue. The Republicans have appointed 6 of the 9. President Trump appointed 3 of the 9 representatives. So 6 out of the 9 of them are Republican. The Democrats are considering, although it'd be very difficult for them to do, what's called packing the court, which would be adding 4 more seats to the Supreme Court. Instead of 9, it would be 13 seats, which would be just enough for the Democrats to take control of the Supreme Court by adding 4 more seats in there. We've talked about why they're doing this and why the Republicans did this in the past. I'm not going to go too deep into it because it takes a while to go over, but it's a very controversial issue. And really, the Democrats have a lot of power now. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. I think that packing the court would be maybe taking it a little bit too far, because then when Republicans get back in power, control of the Senate, what are they going to do? Are they going to increase the Supreme Court again from 13 seats to 20? And we're just going to keep doing this tit for tat thing? I kind of think that they should just leave the Supreme Court justice as it is. I think that no party should ever be in total control of everything. And really, the Democrats have control of pretty much everything at this point, except for the Supreme Court. But let me know your thoughts. I know this is a very controversial issue. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. All right, we got several different stimulus items to talk about today. Number one, I've been getting a lot of questions about these plus up checks. The IRS may owe you a stimulus check called a plus up payment. Here's what that is. The IRS actually sent out 700,000 of these plus up payments just this week alone for $1.2 billion. So 700,000 plus up payments went out this week, and this was actually kind of a surprise. Before they announced this, we really weren't expecting this, and there's several different ways you can get a plus up payment. Basically, if the IRS owes you money for stimulus checks. So one example would be if you made too much money in the past for 2019 tax return and you got a reduced stimulus check or no stimulus check, and then you filed your 2020 tax return, and now you're eligible for a higher stimulus check or a larger stimulus check in the past based on your 2020 income being lower. Remember, the first 2 stimulus checks are based on the year of 2020, so 2020 tax returns, although they went off 2019 if that was your most recent file. So if the IRS owes you money for that instance, they can actually send you a plus up check. Let me know if you did receive a plus up check down below in the comments and why you got the plus up check. Another reason could be if you added a baby into the family. Congratulations if you did. And good luck sleeping, because I remember the first year of Julian. Man, we did not sleep very much at all for the entire first year. He's never been a good sleeper. He wakes up all the time, multiple times in the middle of the night. It's rough. But there's 2 different sets of babies. They call them unicorn babies, babies that are just a dream and sleep all day and are just lovely to be around. And then they call it dragon babies, babies who don't sleep and breathe fire all day long. And our baby is definitely a dragon baby. We had many, many sleepless nights, and you guys have seen him here on the show. I think he was just on like yesterday or so. And yeah, he's just nothing but full of energy. I wish I could bottle some of that energy and just keep it or sell it, because yeah, it would be amazing. But if you had a new baby and you filed your 2020 tax return, the IRS will now know about that baby, and then they can send you a plus up check for the first and second stimulus checks for that new member in your family. Remember, the first 2 checks had stimulus checks of $500 to $600 for child dependents, but not for adult dependents. So if you claim mom as a adult dependent on your tax return, then she doesn't get the first or second stimulus check. Or if you have a college student dependent on your tax return, first 2 stimulus checks don't get it. The third one does, $1,400 for adults and adult dependents and children. And it's likely that any upcoming stimulus checks will also include checks for adult dependents, is the most likely scenario, because the Democrats are in charge right now. They passed the third stimulus check package on their own without any Republican support. So they basically set the rules for that. So that's likely what will happen with the fourth stimulus check. So we'll likely see these very same rules, income requirements and adult dependent requirements, and all the requirements, all the rules will likely be the same for the fourth stimulus check or similar. I think that maybe if they pass the monthly stimulus checks that so many Democrats are pushing for, that we could see a reduction on the income cap. So maybe they lower it. They lowered it in the past from 100,000 to 80,000, largely because of Senator Joe Manchin. But 75 to 80,000 is where you get that reduced stimulus check. Over 80,000 per individual, or double that for a couple, or 112,500 for a single filer head of household. Maybe if they pass the monthly stimulus checks, they might lower that even more, because they'd be sending out literally monthly stimulus checks. But that's just speculation at this point. It could be the same. If we see another fourth stimulus check that's just a single stimulus check, I think if that happens, the two most likely amounts are 1,400 again, or 2,000. I think that they'll probably keep the income requirements the same. If you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, you will be included in the fourth stimulus check. I get that a lot. It's not just for people with people with children or parents. That's the child tax credits. That's something completely different, and that's already passed from the third stimulus check package. In fact, it's been around for a while. It used to be $500. Then it was $1,000, and then former President Donald Trump raised it to $2,000 underneath the Trump tax cuts. And then it's been $2,000 for several years, including 2020. There's a $2,000 child tax credit for 2020. Make sure you claim that if you're eligible. You can file an amended tax return if need be. But the Democrats now and Joe Biden have raised it to $3,000 to $3,600 for 1 year. So that's for 2021. The IRS is setting up a payment portal right now to pay it to you. It does look like more and more, as we get more information by the day, that it is going to be monthly payments for 6 months at the end of the year. So $250 per month for children over the age of 6 through 17, and $300 per month for children under the age of 6 from July until December. This is really early because normally you wouldn't get this until you file this year's tax return next year. And when you get your refund next year for this year, that's when you would normally get this $3,000 to $3,600. But what they're doing is they're setting up a portal, an IRS portal, to pay you this monthly and give you the money for the second 6 months of this year. Give you these monthly payments so you get some money in your pocket to help you out now, so you don't need to wait for it. And then you will receive the other half, the $1,500 for children above 6, and $1,800 for children below the age of 6. You'll likely receive that as a one lump sum on this year's tax return, which happens next year, March or April next year, when you get your refund for next year. That is looking the way it's going to be. I'll firm that up as we continue to get more information. I'll let you know when they open that. If you have a new child for 2021, congratulations. I'm sure you're getting even less sleep. But the IRS says that in this new portal they're setting up, that you can claim a new child by logging into this new portal when it's available. So I will keep you updated on all of that. Now, another stimulus provision that was passed in the third stimulus check package in 2021 is actually retroactive for the year 2020, and that gives you a $10,200 unemployment tax break on any unemployment money, basically making the first $10,200 or up to that amount, if you made less than that, tax-free for the year 2020. They could do this for the year 2021 as well in this next infrastructure package, which we're calling the fourth round of stimulus, or the fourth stimulus check package. It also could happen in the next package after that, as it's likely they will be passing more than one package this year. I mean, we're only in April, so you could probably expect 2 or 3 more packages before the year is done at varying different levels and sizes. But they could do this for the year 2021 as well, another $10,200 tax break in one of these upcoming stimulus packages. It's one of the upcoming stimulus items I'm expecting. IRS says the refunds for this will start in May if you filed your 2020 tax returns before they passed the third stimulus check package. The IRS says that they're going to go back and go through your tax return automatically and give you the tax refund for this money. So basically, it reduces your income by $10,200 as long as you had unemployment money that was up to that amount. And for the average person, this means an extra $1,000 refund or stimulus check coming back to you simply because they added that one little provision in the third stimulus check package. I know, pretty nice, right? But if you have a higher tax bracket, if you're in the 25% tax bracket, you actually get 25% back, so $2,500 for round numbers. So even better. And just one of the other stimulus packages and stimulus provisions in all these different packages. That's why I always say there's a lot more than just the stimulus checks. The stimulus checks cover the most people, but there's a lot of other packages that qualify for different people. And I think we'll likely end up seeing things like that, different provisions for different people, along with the fourth stimulus check in this infrastructure package before all is said and done. Another one for seniors is going to be the expansion of Medicare and possibly Medicaid. What they want to do, and Bernie Sanders is leading the charge for this, Senator Bernie Sanders. If I don't say a title all the time, it's no big deal. I always get people to yell at me like, you didn't say President Biden, or you said President Trump, but you didn't say former President Trump. And presidents retain the title of president, and sometimes I forget to say it's really it's not a big deal. People are always busting me for every little tiny little thing I say right or wrong. But I get it. We're family. I like to joke around and mess with people too in real life. So it's just part of my personality. I like to joke around a lot. So I feel you. I get you. We're on the same page length. But Senator Bernie Sanders is leading the charge for the Medicare expansion. He wants to include dental coverage, vision coverage, and health coverage to be included in Medicare with no additional costs, including hearing aids and all those different provisions in there. We could see that in this infrastructure package. There's a lot of Democrats that are going behind him. I say Democrats because if we were talking last year, I'd be talking about Mitch McConnell from the Senate and President Trump, the Republicans. But now, just because the way the cards fell, it's not that I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, but the Democrats just happen to be in control right now. I mean, they passed the third stimulus check package without a single Republican vote. Not a single Republican voted for it. But the five stimulus packages that were passed last year under former President Donald Trump, we'd be talking a lot more about the Republicans because Republicans were in control of the Senate and the presidency. So they actually had the majority. So, but now, really, any more packages for the next year and a half are likely going to be passed completely on their own with just the Democrats. We could see some bipartisan bills in the future, but as of right now, the Republicans are kind of doing what I call the Republican blockade, where they're just not voting for anything that comes along underneath President Trump, any major bill. We've already seen multiple Republicans, including Senate Minority Leader now, Mitch McConnell, say that he doesn't expect a single Republican will vote for this infrastructure package. So they're probably just going to pass this on their own, which is why we talk more about the Democrats right now, because the Democrats are likely going to just pass this bill completely on their own, and all they'll need to do is negotiate amongst themselves. So really, the Democrats can put any stimulus items in this infrastructure/stimulus package that they want. They want monthly recurring stimulus checks, they can put them in there. They want Medicare expansion with additional coverage and lowering the age limit possibly to age 60 or 55. They can do that. There's so many different things they want to do, including free community college for adults, free preschool, all these different provisions that they want to put in there. It's really just the Democrats now. It's not that I'm for the Democrats or against the Democrats. It's just the way it is. Last year, we were talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. We were talking about Mitch McConnell almost every single day because he was in charge of the Senate. Well, now he's not. And probably because he didn't pass that $1,400 Cash Act that former President Donald Trump actually pushed for and was the one leading the charge for that. Former President Donald Trump said, this $600 stimulus check's not enough. We need 2,000. And Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats said, all right, let's literally the next day they drafted a one-page bill, the Cash Act, voted on it in the House to give you an additional $1,400, passed it in the House, and then it went to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell said, wait. Hold on here. Hold on. Who said I was giving anybody any more money? This is literally Mitch McConnell, right? It's not his exact words, but come on. You're with me here, right? Mitch McConnell's like, wait a second. I didn't say anything about giving anybody more stimulus checks. And literally, that's basically exactly what happened. He sent it to his graveyard that he's so proud of. He talks about his graveyard where he sends bills to die. And that's exactly what he did. That bill passed the House. It was from former President Donald Trump, and Mitch McConnell didn't even let it go to a vote. He didn't even let it. He didn't even let the Senate vote on it. And the Senate Majority Leader can do that. It's now Chuck Schumer from the Democrats, but that the Senate Majority Leader, along with the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi can do that too. But we don't see that nearly as much from the House as we see Mitch McConnell. I mean, this was literally a bipartisan bill. It passed the House with bipartisan approval. It started with Republican President Donald Trump, and Mitch McConnell, who's Republican himself, didn't even let it go to a vote. And literally less than a week later was the Georgia Senate runoff races, and the Republicans lost both of those Senate seats, which flipped the Senate from being controlled by the Republicans and Mitch McConnell to being controlled by the Democrats. And that single act by Mitch McConnell, even though he's been doing things like that for years, sending bills to die in the graveyard, that single act cost you guys probably an extra $1,400 stimulus check and also cost the Republicans the Senate. Okay. Now, Biden eventually passed a $1,400 stimulus check, although it was months later. We would have had that $1,400 back in January. Okay. And it's likely that then Biden would have came in and passed another $1,400 or whatever he wanted his first stimulus check to be. So it's very likely that we missed out on a complete stimulus check. That first check passed by Biden, President Biden at the time, would have likely been the fourth stimulus check instead of the third had Mitch McConnell let that go to a vote. So that's why the inner workings of the Senate and the House and how they're going to pass everything is so important, because that literally meant an additional stimulus check that we never got for many millions of Americans. And then if we go back last year, you could almost say the same thing about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She was accused and kind of admitted that she delayed the second stimulus check until after the election because she didn't want President Trump to win. Now, she kind of went back and kind of admitted that it's okay now because now we have a new president. That was a big controversy too. And that's why I always say that both sides, Republican and Democrats, play these games with the other and with Americans' people's lives. And that's why it's important to understand what's happening and how this works. I've had so many comments from you guys saying, thank you, Jimmy. I actually now understand what's going on with our country and our government, and I can actually follow along. And thanks for explaining it the way you do. I love to do that. I actually get, I like seeing comments like that because really this is what's going on in our country. This affects our daily lives. All these stimulus checks and stimulus packages and bills passed by the government. This affects our country. So it's very important, if you care anything at all about government and our country and stimulus checks and how they get passed, is understanding how this all works. So it's been my pleasure to be able to bring you guys all this daily information. Thanks for being a part of our community, our family. If you haven't joined yet, subscribe down below. It's completely free to do, so I don't charge anything. All you got to do is subscribe down below and don't miss out on any new videos. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about different things in different videos, so don't miss out on an episode. And I have a very interesting episode coming out for you at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight with some new information that just came across my desk that L'Oreal just found for me. So don't miss out on our 11 p.m. Eastern Time video tonight. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is also a very good video. It's from a video or two ago about 10 to 15 other stimulus programs that can put money in your pocket that you may not have known about. So click on one of those videos next. And thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.